we're doing in Washington, both the Treasury, the Congress, and the Federal Reserve, are doing everything wrong, it's going to delay the correction. So I expect it to last for quite a few years. And yet, if we did the right thing, it would end rather quickly. We're doing all the things. It's sort of like the addict feels a little bit better, but eventually the drug addict gets killed if it doesn't get off the drug. And in this case, even giving all these programs and spending all this money, it doesn't even seem to be doing much good. So that tells you how serious the problem is. So no, I think it's going to last a long time.
Do you see more support on the Hill? I mean, are more of your colleagues starting to wake up, or is it just more of the same illusion, more of the same patterns of behavior?
I don't. A few of them are, and they know it's wrong. Even those who vote for it, they know it's wrong, but they feel like there's too much political pressure on them. I mean, they listen to the arguments. Well, if General Motors goes down, you're going to lose 3 million jobs. You know, and then they say, "Oh, we know it's not the right thing to do," but then they're coerced into doing it. But the support is still there to continue for government to meddle. That's the problem.
What do you see the reaction being from Congress as the situation gets worse? I mean, are they going to wake up, or are they just going to keep running into the hands of the New World Order banking establishment?
No, I think they'll just allow that to happen. When they voted for the first bailout, you know, their instincts were they shouldn't vote for it, and it was defeated. And then after the arm twisting and the fear mongering, oh, the end of the world's going to come if you don't do this, and then they capitulate. So they'll probably do that on the monetary system, because it's the monetary system that's broken down. It doesn't function. And that's why these meetings of the central bankers around the world, I'm convinced they're planning the next monetary order, you know, another reserve currency, and it's not going to be to our benefit. So, yeah, I think, and the average congressman probably doesn't realize what's going on, and he won't say too much. And then when it comes about, won't do much to resist it, because he either won't understand it or he'll be afraid that he'll make problems worse if they don't allow the government to take over. But just as the federal government got big during the Depression in order to take over, was the wrong thing to do. This time it's going to be international government taking over, so it's very dangerous.
What do you say to people that say that it's the free market that's actually caused this problem? Because that seems to be a continuing theme in the news and from the left, is that the free market has caused this meltdown.
That's what they said in the 30s. It was very detrimental, because they said it was the free market and the gold standard that caused the Depression, and it was exactly the opposite. And they're doing the same thing over again. You know, that they're blaming capitalism. Internationally, Sarkozy is the one that's talking the most about it. Oh, we got to revamp this capitalism. Then our president comes along, and he's involved in all these talks, and he says, oh, I'm all for this and talking about it. Let me tell you, you can't do anything. We don't want you to tamper with the free market. And just look at what he's doing here in this country, bailing out everybody. So sure, they're going to tamper with the free market, and that's very dangerous. So that's why our job is pretty serious. And yeah, our numbers are growing. A lot of people feel strongly and understand what we're talking about, but the establishment are still on the other side of the fence. But the important thing is, intellectually, we have a growing number of people who are defending our position, both legally and constitutionally, as well as economically.
So you really see real change as having to come from a populist, down-up movement, because too many of our politicians are just going to continue to go along with the status quo and what the establishment wants?
The philosophy has to come by a certain number of people who will establish it. So the prevailing attitude of the people is very important. If the prevailing attitude of the people say, yeah, we like being policemen of the world, and we like the welfare state, then you get it, no matter whether you have Republican or Democrat. But if the growing number of people gets so large that they know the government is broke, and they can't, even if they would like to get things from the government, if they realize the government doesn't have it anymore, maybe they'll realize that, well, we can't afford these wars anymore, our troops will come home, and we'll, even if we don't legalize the market, there'll be more and more, black market type activity off the books, because people will want to survive. And this is what will happen. But if we did the right thing, we could solve our problems within a year or two.
What do you see, now that Barack Obama's been elected president under this mantle of change. My analysis is he really is just another front man for the establishment. How do we break through to those that are so enamored and have bought into this, what I would say propaganda branding that's change that's not any change at all? I mean, how do we get through to those people to do our best to help them understand that this is just one more front man in a string of front men for this banking, military, industrial establishment?
Well, we have to start right now by pointing out we don't expect much, but people won't pay any attention until a year or 2 or 3 from now.
Do we have that time, though, to educate? I mean, it really seems like
the system may come to an end before then, but in time they'll realize that he offered no changes. He's going to send more troops overseas. He's probably going to have a draft. He'll probably have a national youth service. He's going to give everybody domestic spending that they want. He's still beholden to Wall Street. So a lot of people still have faith and confidence. It's pretty hard to shake their confidence when he isn't even in office yet. So they're always people are honestly hopeful, because he says a couple things that people like, and they say, well, give him the benefit of the doubt. He can't be perfect, so he's going to do his best to turn things around. So they're not about to turn on him right now. Matter of fact, he's probably more popular now than ever.
Is it frustrating to you at all that you literally predicted during your presidential campaign? You can go back and watch you at the debates telling the entire country exactly what was going to happen, and now it has all been unfolding. Does it ever get frustrating to you? I know it must be inspiring to see this great social movement that you've honestly, you're probably too humble to say it, have spawned. It needed a figurehead, and I understand that it was there and it was the time for it to happen. But is it frustrating to you especially in the media, you come out and you tell them again and again and again exactly what's going to happen, and yet you never seem to get, you get a little bit of credibility, but it doesn't seem to be equal to the amount that you should be getting.
Frustration probably isn't the right word. It's kind of exasperating. But frustration means you anticipate certain results and you don't get them, and why didn't it work out? I don't put my expectations too high. And if I keep a proper perspective, I'm really delighted with the results. I win over converts, one here and there in Congress, but the people responded very favorably. So I would say there's a lot of reason to be excited rather than frustrated. And I was very encouraged the last 2 years. I didn't realize I thought I'd be out of that race in a month or 2. But we held in there for a long time and kept getting more and more attention. And now, even with the campaign over, we have credibility, with this economic times. So frustration might lead you to not be wanting to do as much. I think I'm as eager as ever.
Last question, Dr. Paul. What, if there was any piece of advice you could give to the Patriot movement, the awakening movement, to prepare for what's coming, what would that advice be?
Understand history and understand current events and understand monetary policy and understand economics so that you know what the issues are. And then spreading the message. Everybody has a different responsibility, first to themselves and their family and their friends and their neighbors. And then whatever their job is, if they happen to be working in education or media, they have a responsibility to spread this message. And that's what happened. That's what's so important, is getting more people on our side. I think that's what got me excited, was that we had a lot more people than I dreamed of. So I think that's the main goal, is getting more people who understand it. If nothing else, if anybody's totally frustrated and annoyed and don't know what to do, study. Study so that they can know and defend their position and remain as dignified as possible. I'd like to wring some of their necks sometime, but that's not going to do it. You gotta persuade people. I keep talking about if individuals don't do like you think they should do, you persuade them. In other countries, you try to persuade them and talk in diplomacy and never use force overseas to tell people how to live. We don't tell individuals how to live, but to persuade people to our views, you have to fully understand it. And then I think we can be victorious. And that's where the shift is coming. In Washington and on the surface, it doesn't look like it. But beneath all this, I think the changes are occurring that are very beneficial.
Well, Dr. Paul, I appreciate your time. I really thank you for talking to us. In any way that any of us can support Dr. Paul, I always encourage everybody to find out more about his campaign for liberty, find out about his book, Find out, simply YouTube or Google. I mean, he has 1,000 speeches that are all out there for you to find out. So, Dr. Paul, one more time, thank you so much, sir. Keep fighting.